Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bang, bang, bang. Womp, womp, womp. Loving what I got to give and taking. Say, remember that kin. Loving is what I got. Say, remember that song. Almost always, never weak and just strong. Loving is what I got. So remember that. Loving what I got. To remember that. Hi, friends. Welcome to another edition of Trey's 30 minutes of explain. Trey's 45 minutes of explanation in a class of 5 people across the world. Open to as many new students as want to join this class. It's all free for the timeless being. Today's class is called, this is my interpretation of the subject, How False Guilt Traumatizes Compliance into the Slave Mind. Now, this has been going on since the Dark Ones came and took over this place, and before, many years before, since Lemuria was destroyed. So, we have the obvious poverty for an overview, childhood mental verbal abuse and rape, peers, mental abuse in junior high, work, jobs, disease, physical disease, mental disease, vitamin nutrient deficiency, fake IDs, your ID is a GLB or disabled or any derogatory or negative ID, wage slavery, your needs like housing, sexual partner or mate, the desire to reproduce, to have friends. All of these can be under the umbrella of the Hegelian presto changeo. I always said it's like the mafia came here and stole everything and then wants to charge 10 times the money for it to you and make you work 7 days a week for it. But God bless them for that, because like I say, we'd never learn if everyone played by the rules of the divine and we lived in heaven. It'd take a long time to learn. So, well, see, the negative aliens, in order to project their mind into us over millions of years, again, in the Council of Nicaea 325, for example, they use guilt and their control mechanisms to create the slave mind within, through the fact that they genocided us so many times in the past, through their bloodlines, through the idea of kingship as my dear friend James Rodriguez says, the belief in kingship is the belief in slavery, because you believe you have the right to dominate someone else, which is incorrect spiritually. So, for a great example of the most extreme form that's ever happened on planet Earth was what happened to planet Earth and womankind in 2020. This Nazi officer's son and this eugenics, open eugenicists and their transhumanist friends and their billionaire friends all said, well, we can just force compliance through, stuff like this, like certain narratives like, how dare you kill your grandmother, for example, or even we're not going to let you, the isolation that was caused. Like I say, when I looked on the ground at the bus station and every single grocery store, 95% of the time, there would be three sixes. Six, six, six. Okay. But on a personal level, growing up as a child, I guess I was an indigo child, you could say. They attempted to make me feel guilty for independence, for being myself, for being independent minded, or to not toe the line. But of course, I always, growing up on my astral cartography chart, on my Saturn on the descendant line, I for sure always believed in the sweat equity was the way. And since my mom had to beg me for 3 years, of course, they knew that that I believe had this belief. Whereas being a banker's son and the son of a banker who's the son of a 33-degree Freemason, perhaps they knew I could get to grandiose. I could get the hubris as bad as anyone. But so through our failures is another great way. Every time we make a huge mistake in life or a small mistake, if you're not aware of these interdimensional predator parasites, or their human compadre, their human friends, you can really take a lot of guilt and fear and worry and regret. If you don't know how to forgive yourself, to bypass it, to go to the courage to serve others, that's the key. But so other ways are allowing fears and darkness to the side. It's always a mistake. Like I said before, Harry Brown, who ran for president and the Libertarian candidate one year, in his book, he mentioned how he fired all his employees and hired them back as independent contractors because someone that was a business expert told him to do that, and how happy he was with it because he didn't. He was tired of the way that the fear was and the hierarchy of this, the reptilian hierarchy of business was messing with his business friendships that because he was friends with his coworkers. So he hired them all on as independent contractors. That's an example of what you can do in the business place to change this. But the old people, the young people, foreigners, different races, disabled people, GLBTQ, all labels cause division. All beliefs and labels will cause division. Um, so once the slave mind is set in the individual psyche, we all, because the nature of the original human, or the spirit and human, is service to others. The divine Christos is service to others. They know we're good natured and we like to serve others, humans. So by putting this, if you look at the end of the planet Saturn and see that hexagram, and you know that the moon is not organic at all. So, but through the Saturn Moon matrix, they certainly beam it in, but also through the elementary school programming, school up to university, to make you think that you must to pay your rent and your mortgage, and you must be a possession of that box. If you live around here, I guess, unless you're really wealthy or really able to flow a lot. So everyone feels forced to serve, and then they learn to hate service. Is that not peculiar? I mean, well, at least if you go to a health food store or a ganja store or somewhere where it's a wonderful organic product, and then they say, "Well, I'll be happy when I get off." Well, see, that's the program. People have to learn to again, as I mentioned, Anita Morjani, to learn to choose jobs that they love and enjoy them while they're doing them. So as much as possible. So because that's the pestilence program when you think like that. So um, the idea of wage slavery, rent is self-possession. Like if the Saturn hex system is so powerful that they have you through all their black magic rituals and blood sacrifice, even in wars, endless war. You know, the wealthiest people on the planet always run an endless war, and others trying to just openly say they're going to make everyone do this and that to comply to their totalitarian ideas. Well, that's your extreme. What this leads to, people around here, a lot of times they won't ever feel like, unless they're spiritually, able to be spiritually powerful or real with themselves and strong, they won't ever be able to feel like they're themselves in public. Even sometimes, a lot of people, because they're chasing the money, the rent, and just from whatever their cultural situation, their fears as well. They don't face their shadow. So what happens is since I've had no rent here, and I've had a lot of time to study, and I've realized that I could change the balance through this actual platform to service to others, to helping others. And you too can learn to flip the script to do what you love to help others. And that's the key to getting over this, because honestly, as long as I myself or anyone was or is still complying with the false identification of this, you have to be in the slave narrative. You're not really, unless you love every minute of it or most of it, you're not really being yourself, because again, we were hybridized and over many lifetimes, and I still have to get all my implants out. But when you have the courage to serve others by choice, you have the faith to be. You learn to have the faith to be yourself at all times. Eventually, this is like one of the greatest goals, and what they really don't want. The reptilian values are slavery and dominance. It creates separation from the divine source. Right? If you USA has a moon in Aquarius, so subconsciously, if they can tune you into thinking all that matters is, if you're a good natured person, all that matters is to serve others, right? So that actually continue into the reptilian, because you're in the slavery dominance, and that's what makes you feel separate. Now, if you believe it, now if it's an inversion, now if you flip the script, you'll realize the queendom is within. It's undeniable when you're truly born again. Free your mind, and your ass will follow. Well, the kingdom of heaven is within. But as my dear my dear new student and teacher has pointed out here, the spiritual need of serving, and how they make you a slave, um, is such a great contrast with some of you to your real service. That on the other hand, with some of you, you're so close to it that you can hone it in. You can just learn to get another job. And even yesterday, when I played music for about an hour and 20 minutes, I have to apologize to my audience that I didn't post it here, but I didn't really want to pull out my pooter on Pacific, and I didn't have much batteries. Anyway, and I was a little rusty, but I could feel a piece of my soul come back, guys. I mean, we all have the spiritual need of service, and the truth is, what you will serve is beneficial to the divine creator. In other words, when you're being your real self, that's when you'll be beneficial to the Most High. Now, I thought it was because I used that N word, but the times when some of those videos were 100 or 2 or 3, 500 people watched me, it was because I was saying something healing or beneficial, man. And like this, thumbs up if you did. Give me a comment. God bless you. I'll talk a little more here.